70 years. Some can maybe live a little bit longer. So he is between 17 and 22, which means he's a young adult. He's just barely out of his teenage years. They're very similar to people, and they can be as emotionally mature, which is this type of behavior, this, I want to be the center of attention, never mind, I don't. Yes, I do. That kind of crazy stuff that you see in toddler humans, 2 and 3-year-olds. So emotionally, they're as mature as 2 and 3-year-old kids. Intelligence-wise, they can learn as much linguistically, words, and behaviorally, with actions and things, as a 5, or they're finding out maybe even a 6-year-old kid. So while emotionally they kind of stay stuck at that difficult age to deal with, verbally they can learn to say a lot of pretty cool stuff. And they're not just learning to say it, they're using that language. They're learning language. And unfortunately, because they are such a handful, they're a lot to work with, they can obviously be messy, they're a lot more difficult to work with than people think. Who here thinks, looking at him right now, it would be really cool to have a bird like Elliot? A lot of people. Now, downside is, and this is where I recommend volunteering a lot, because a bird like Elliot, and if Cuddles comes in, you guys will see kind of the downside to having birds as pets. And actually, Natasha, who's my intern, she goes to med school in Providence and interns here. If you could find Joe and see if he could bring Cuddles back in, that would be great. Thank you. Unfortunately, people do feel that way. It's a very common thing. These really interesting bird, really cool bird, that's really neat. And this reaction does span to even more common animals like cats and dogs and rabbits. But with birds in particular, and people don't really realize how much work they take, how hard it is to take care of them, how expensive it is to keep them healthy. Their vet care is very expensive. Elliot and Cuddles are being considered by a potential family. They're great, and they wanted to spend the money themselves to take them to the vet and make sure they didn't have anything contagious that could spread to their own birds. They've spent about $800 just getting basic screening, just basic health checkup. About $800. Imagine having to do that every year or two. They really should go to the vet once a year. And that's if there isn't something wrong. If there is something wrong, it gets even more expensive. So very expensive food-wise. What kind of food do they eat?
Fruits and nuts.
Fruits and nuts are a lot of the diet. What kind of food do you think most people feed them? Seeds. Seeds like sunflower seeds. Not a very good diet. Cuddles absolutely loves Joe. Joe is our investigator. Joe was a little nervous about the birds at first, but Cuddles has totally glommed onto him. Hey, so, everybody say hi. Whenever you hear about the SPCA doing investigations into potential animal cruelty, things like that, Joe is the guy at the front of all that. He's the one who does those investigations, who leads the criminal part of what we do here. Cuddles just really likes tall guys. She likes Joe a lot. She was just hanging out in his office. You gotta get good reflexes if you have a bird. So Cuddles is an umbrella cockatoo. Now
he's trying to get closer to you. Is that what he's trying to do?
Yeah, he's a little bit jealous.
Yeah.
Just like she really likes him, he likes me. So these two have lived together for about 12 years or so. So they are bonded to each other, but they get kind of jealous if either of them goes to somebody else who they like or something like that. So they're complicated.
Do they live in the same cage?
No, they would fight if they lived in the same cage, but they like having each other near. And they do. When Cuddles goes away, you'll hear Elliot. We just had a giggle just before you guys got here. I walked down the hallway past Joe's office, and Elliot stopped and looked in the doorway and said, "Hi, Cuddles." So, they know each other. They know how to use language. They're not just copying what we say. They're using it in context. But their diet isn't just sunflower seeds, like a lot of people feed them. That's actually very bad for them. They end up with vitamin deficiencies, nutritional problems. He's being a goofball. He's a ham. And they can end up with heart and liver disease, which is very serious. And those birds generally don't live as long. They need fresh fruits. They need nuts. They need vegetables. They can eat pasta. They can eat a lot of the food we can eat. So long as it's healthy food, I'm not talking marshmallows and Twinkies, but any of the fruits, grains, nuts, things like that, they can eat and they should. They like spicy things, sweet things. They get addicted to salty things. Now look at Cuddle's chest. What do you see on her chest?
Gray.
Gray. What is the gray? That's not quite a scar, although it could become one. A what?
A birthmark?
Not a birthmark either. It's a good guess. It's not a belly button.
It's like surgery.
No, it's not a site for surgery either, although good guesses.
It's her like skin?
It's her skin. Now, normally that would be covered by feathers. Unfortunately, see how that spreads apart? Cuddles is stressed out here. Cuddles, we think, is around 30 to 40, and Cuddles' last owner really loved her and let her sleep on her bed. She hung out on her lap.